On behalf of the Secretariat of the Basel, Rotterdam and Stockholm Conventions, I'm pleased to welcome you to this briefing session for journalists in preparation for the upcoming meetings of the Conference of the Parties to the three conventions. These meetings will be held at the Geneva International Conference Center. They will take place over 2 weeks, from the 28th of April to the 9th of May. The meetings will also include this year a high-level segment, which will take place on the 30th of April and the 1st of May. We need your support. The essence of this briefing is that we need support to raise the awareness of governments and the public on the risks posed by the unsound management of hazardous chemicals and wastes. We also need your support to raise awareness on the work that the multilateral environmental agreements, such as the Basel, Rotterdam, and Stockholm Conventions, have accomplished to protect human health and the environment from these risks, as well as the challenges that lay ahead. You may all be aware of the triple planetary crisis or multi-dimensional environmental challenges that face our modern world. So key contributors to these challenges are unsustainable consumption and production models and unsound management of hazardous chemicals and waste. The latter relates to persistent organic pollutants that end up in our bodies and in the environment and challenges our capacity to develop, function, and reproduce. This also includes the plastic pollution that suffocates our ocean and has been associated with declining marine populations, electronic waste that is illegally exported to developing countries, sometimes disguised as a second-hand material, which in turn exposes informal workers to hazardous substances, as well as toxic pesticides that are banned in developed countries, but are still exported to some developing countries, and so much more. Certainly, a whole lot more could be communicated on the interlinkages between pollution, climate change, biodiversity loss, and the Sustainable Development Goals. The lack of communication on these topics is a missed opportunity to inform people so they can protect themselves and request that their governments take more ambitious and coordinated actions to solve them. Thank you very much for your interest and your support, and we hope this briefing will be fruitful. So the Basel, Rotterdam, and Stockholm Conventions are global, legal, binding multilateral environmental treaties that address some of the most significant chemicals and waste pollution that has been identified over the last several decades and are thus contributing to the protection of human health and the environment. The Conference of the Parties to the Basel, Rotterdam, and Stockholm Conventions are the decision-making bodies of these conventions. This signifies that at the global level, through the United Nations, governments have committed themselves to take action on human health and the environment. Together, all three conventions provide a framework for the life cycle management of chemicals. The three conventions together share a common objective to protect human health and the environment. Most POPs, persistent organic pollutants, are covered by all three conventions. Many pesticides are subject to the three conventions, as are wastes. All chemicals fall under the scope of the Basel Convention. The three conventions have an interlocking scope and coverage. Moreover, the three conventions are living instruments that adapt to changing times, as the recent meetings, as the meetings of the Conference of the Parties regularly demonstrate. The Basel Convention on the Control of Transboundary Movements of Hazardous Waste and their Disposal was adopted in 1989 in response to concerns about developed country companies dumping hazardous waste in developing countries. It entered into force in 1992 and currently has 191 parties. The work of the Basel Convention is based on these three pillars: prevention and minimization of hazardous waste generation, the environmentally sound management of the waste generated, supported by the development of technical guidelines, the control of transboundary movement of hazardous wastes and other wastes, and their disposal. Next slide. The Rotterdam Convention on the Prior Informed Consent Procedure for certain hazardous chemicals and pesticides in international trade was adopted in 1998 in response to dramatic growth in chemicals trade and vulnerability of developing countries to uncontrolled imports. It entered into force in 2004 and currently has 166 parties. The work of the Rotterdam Convention is based on two key mechanisms. Firstly, the Prior Informed Consent Procedure, which is a mechanism to formally obtain and disseminate the decision of importing parties on whether they wish to receive future shipments of chemicals listed in Annex 3 of the Convention. It's also a mechanism for exchange of information to enable countries to take informed decisions before importing a chemical. Know what you're buying. The Stockholm Convention on Persistent Organic Pollutants was adopted in 2001 in response to an urgent need for global action on persistent organic pollutants. These are chemicals that are persistent, bioaccumulate in fatty tissues, and biomagnified through the food chain. It entered into force in 2004 and currently has 186 parties. The Stockholm Convention is focused on eliminating chemicals listed in Annex A, restricting those in Annex B, such as the DDT that can still be used for disease vector control to combat malaria, reduction and elimination of releases of persistent organic pollutants released unintentionally as a byproduct of other processes listed in Annex C. The work to implement Annex C has been particularly relevant to address climate change because, in the end, it is about the implementation of best available techniques and best available practices to reduce emissions of pollutants. And finally, the Stockholm Convention also addresses the identification and management of obsolete stock and contaminated sites. Over here, you'll see a map of the coverage of the BRS Convention. So just briefly, the key shows, blue is showing all parties that signed up to 3, green is showing those that are party to 2, yellow is showing those that are party to 1, and white is showing those that are not party to any of the conventions. Next slide. So what will be taking place at the COPs this year? This year, we will be having a high-level segment that will be taking place from the 30th of April to the 1st of May. This high-level segment will take place at the Geneva International Conference Center and the nearby Verembe Conference Center. Over the course of 2 days, there will be an opening ceremony, ministerial roundtable discussions, and a ministerial dinner on the 30th of April. This will be followed by a ministerial interactive panel discussions and a high-level press conference on Thursday, the 1st of May. The aim of this high-level segment is to provide political leadership for a renewed commitment towards the implementation of the 3 conventions. There will be simultaneous interpretation into 6 UN languages in plenary. The opening ceremony of the high-level segment will be open to all participants in the meetings of the Conference of the Parties. Opening remarks will be made by representatives of the host countries and by other dignitaries. The theme of the high-level segment will then be introduced by a keynote speaker to stimulate dialogue during the ministerial roundtable discussions to follow. Roundtable will be organized around language preference to indicate in registration. A ministerial group photo will be taken, as you can see, from 1550 to 1600. Once again, the aim of the high-level segment will be to provide political leadership for renewed commitment towards the implementation of the 3 conventions. Under the ambit of the main theme, the high-level segment will discuss the following sub-themes: pollution, circularity, means of implementation. There will also be other high-level events taking place during this period, maximizing the ministerial attendance. UNEP's executive director will be hosting a high-level event, as well as a ministerial breakfast on plastics. The government of Germany will host a ministerial lunch on the implementation of the Global Framework on Chemicals on 1 May, and the government of Switzerland will host a ministerial dinner the night before on the 30th of April. Next slide. Moving on to the key issues that these conferences will be discussing. So the 17th meeting of the Conference of the Parties to the Basel Convention will discuss topics to continue improving the effectiveness of the Convention in preventing the illegal traffic of waste. This will include amendments to Annex 2, Annex 8, and Annex 9 on electronic waste. This will also include the work under its partnerships on plastic, electronic waste, household waste, and waste containing nanomaterials. Electronic approaches to notifications and movements of documents will also be considered. Next slide. Looking to key issues under the Rotterdam Convention, A key part of the discussions of the 12th meeting will be the listing of chemicals in Annex 3 to the Convention, which refers to chemicals that are subject to the prior informed consent procedure under the Convention. So in this case, there will be 4 new chemicals and 6 returning chemicals. As you can see on the screen, the 4 new chemicals: chloropyrifos, methyl bromide, mercury, paraquat. These consist of insecticides used in agriculture, as well as mercury, as you may or may not be aware of, used in batteries, thermometers, fluorescent lamps, paraquat, a herbicide used in agricultural weed for control, as well as 6 returning chemicals: acetylcholine, carbosulfan, crystal asbestos, phenthein, iprodione, and paraquat dichloride. Really difficult to say, but we will be sending these across to all registrants of the webinar. Next slide. As part of the 12th meeting of the Conference of the Parties, the Stockholm Convention will focus on the following issues, which is listing of chemicals in Annex A, B, or C to the Convention. Again, chloropyrifos, chlorinated paraffins, and long-chain perfluorocarboxylic acids will be discussed. They'll also be discussed the need to reduce or eliminate the release from intentional production and use of DDT, PCBs, and brominated diphenyl ethers. The COPs will also consider the compliance, global monitoring plan, reporting, and financial mechanisms. Key cross-cutting issues that will be taking place across all three conventions is technical assistance and capacity building for the implementation of the Basel, Rotterdam, and Stockholm conventions, mobilization of resources under the 3 conventions, their programs of work and budget, enhancing cooperation and coordination among the 3 conventions, international coordination and cooperation with other organizations, as well as addressing legal, governance, and compliance matters. In parallel to the COPs, the Secretariats of the Convention is also organizing a Make Visible the Invisible fair. Now, this fair is there to raise further awareness on the risks posed by the unsound management of hazardous chemicals and wastes. There will be at least 21 different stands at the fairs, ranging from national exhibitors to civil society and other partners. The opening ceremony of the fair, of the Make Visible the Invisible fair, will be on Tuesday, the 29th of April, from about 6 p.m. The fair will close on Friday, 2nd of May at 8 p.m. Several other side events, which are an opportunity for parties and observers to share knowledge, build capacity, network, and exchange on experiences in the implementation of the 3 conventions, will be taking place during the COPs within the fair. We encourage you to come along, get engaged, and even play some of the games that will be on offer. It will be exciting, and some of our partners have hinted that there may be prizes on offer. So please come along and have a look at these. We will be having a lake exhibition which started from the 1st of April, and this will be running right through to Sunday, the 4th of May at the Rotonde du Mont Blanc in Geneva, Switzerland. We invite you to discover the lake exhibition, which is a visual journey on the impact of hazardous chemicals and waste. Through 16 panels highlighted before, it highlights the Basel, Rotterdam, and Stockholm conventions protecting human health and the environment. This presents a light-hearted, artistic touch on the important work we do. Explore themes like plastic waste, e-waste, industrial chemicals, and their links to pollution, climate change, and biodiversity loss. These slides again give an idea of what to expect. We hope that those of you who are based in Geneva will be able to explore this series of posters. If you're in Geneva during the month of April, I reiterate again, please visit the Rotonde du Mont Blanc and join the conversation. As you'll see in the following slides, we have many communication channels and tools that you can see listed, e.g. our documents portal, the Trello board. We will be having newsletters and press releases and media briefings that some have already taken place. The easiest way to access them all is through our website. We will be sending this presentation with the details to all participants and linking it under our website as well. Please do note the dates for the press advisory briefings and the press conferences that will all be taking place at the Palladian Nations. Prior to our COPs, we also hosted regional preparatory meetings and webinars to prepare participants and enable the development of regional positions. Most of these have already taken place and are available on our website. This next slide gives a better idea of how our website works. I won't go into too much detail, but from the presentation which will be sent through, please feel free to just scan the QR code, go onto our website, and there you'll be able to see everything under 2025 COPs, the documents, the different agendas across all three conventions. And yeah, it's interactive. The more you click, the more that's available for you. We encourage you to explore it. Next slide. Keep going. Great. If you're interested in covering the meeting of the Conference of the Parties in April and May 2025, media accreditation is required. Please visit our website for more information or contact us. We do realize that quite a few might already be accredited via other UN agencies or via UNOG here in Geneva. However, to gain access to the Geneva International Conference Center, you will need to be accredited. So please follow the link over here on the 2025 BRS COPs media page, Media Hub, and this will give all the information about accreditation. The media accreditation is strictly reserved for members of the press who represent a bona fide media organization. The applications are considered on a case-by-case basis and are not automatic. The Media Hub on the 2025 BRS COPs website has guidelines, FAQs, and application forms for media accreditation available. And below, we've got a few of the hashtags as well as social media channels that will be available to you. And finally, our contact points will be Maria Cristina Cadenas Fisher here in the Secretariat and Farai Manwa myself. We look forward to welcoming you all in Geneva in the next 2 weeks, or just under the next 2 weeks. Have a fantastic rest of the afternoon, rest of the day, and we look forward to welcoming you in Geneva. Thank you very much.